Violet never expected to fall in love again, especially not at her age. At 42, she had long ago resigned herself to a life of quiet solitude after her divorce. But fate had other plans the day Aiden walked into her flower shop. It was a crisp autumn morning when the bell above the door chimed, signaling a customer. Violet looked up from the bouquet she was arranging to see a tall, handsome man with salt and pepper hair enter. His piercing blue eyes met hers, and she felt an immediate spark of electricity. "Welcome to Violet's Blooms," she said with a smile. "How can I help you today?" The man approached the counter, a warm smile lighting up his rugged features. "I'm looking for something special for my mother's birthday. Any recommendations?" "Of course," Violet replied. "What's your mother's favorite flower?" "Lilies," he answered. "White lilies." Violet nodded. "We have some beautiful white lilies that just came in this morning. I could put together an arrangement with those as the focal point." "That sounds perfect," the man said. He extended his hand. "I'm Aiden, by the way." "Violet," she replied, shaking his hand. A tingle ran up her arm at his touch. As Violet gathered the flowers and began arranging them, she and Aiden fell into easy conversation. She learned he was 45, divorced, and had recently moved to town to take a job as an architect. There was an instant connection between them that Violet couldn't deny. When the bouquet was finished, Aiden insisted on paying extra, saying it was even more beautiful than he imagined. As he was about to leave, he hesitated. "I hope this isn't too forward," he said, "but would you like to grab coffee sometime?" Violet felt her heart skip a beat. It had been years since anyone had asked her out. "I'd love to," she found herself saying. They exchanged numbers, and Aiden left with a bright smile and a promise to call soon. Violet watched him go, her mind reeling. She hadn't felt this giddy excitement in so long. Maybe, just maybe, life still held some surprises for her. True to his word, Aiden called the next day to set up their coffee date. They met at a cozy cafe downtown, the autumn leaves swirling outside the windows. Over steaming lattes, they talked for hours, losing all track of time. Violet was captivated by Aiden's quick wit and kind eyes. He listened intently to her stories, genuinely interested in her life and passions. As the weeks passed, Violet and Aiden began seeing each other regularly. He would stop by the flower shop with lunch, or they would meet for dinner after she closed up. On weekends, they explored the town together, visiting art galleries and taking long walks in the park. Violet felt herself falling hard and fast. Aiden was unlike any man she'd ever known, thoughtful, romantic, and completely devoted to her. He made her feel cherished and desired in a way she hadn't experienced in years. For the first time in a long time, she dared to hope that maybe she had found her second chance at love. But doubts still nagged at her. Was she being foolish? Opening her heart again at her age? What if Aiden decided she was too old for him? The insecurities that had plagued her since her divorce reared their ugly heads. One evening, as they cuddled on Violet's couch watching an old movie, she finally voiced her fears. "Aiden," she said softly, "are you sure about this? About us? I mean, I'm in my 40s. Wouldn't you rather be with someone younger?" Aiden turned to face her, his expression serious. "Violet, listen to me. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. You're the most beautiful, vibrant, amazing woman I've ever known. Your age doesn't matter to me at all. I'm falling in love with you. All of you." Tears welled in Violet's eyes at his heartfelt words. Aiden gently wiped them away before pulling her in for a tender kiss. In that moment, Violet let go of her doubts and fears. She was falling in love too, and it was the most wonderful feeling in the world. As autumn turned to winter, Violet and Aiden's relationship deepened. They spent cozy evenings by the fireplace, went ice skating hand in hand, and shared steaming mugs of hot cocoa. Violet introduced Aiden to her adult children, who were initially wary but soon warmed to his charm. Aiden's mother adored Violet from the moment they met. Their first Christmas together was magical. Aiden surprised Violet by decorating her entire house while she was at work, complete with twinkling lights and a towering pine tree. On Christmas morning, they exchanged gifts by the tree. When Violet opened a small velvet box to find a delicate silver locket, she gasped. "Open it," Aiden urged softly. Inside was a tiny photograph of the two of them, smiling and happy. Engraved on the other side were the words, "My heart is yours." Violet's eyes filled with tears of joy as Aiden fastened the locket around her neck. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you too," he replied, pulling her close, "more than I ever thought possible." As winter melted into spring, Violet's flower shop bustled with activity. Aiden often stopped by to help during the busy season, his strong hands arranging vases and carrying heavy buckets of flowers. Violet loved watching him charm the customers with his easy smile and warm demeanor. One balmy evening in May, Aiden suggested a picnic in the park. As they spread out a blanket under a blooming cherry tree, Violet marveled at how content she felt. She had never expected to find love again, let alone with someone as wonderful as Aiden. After they finished their meal, Aiden grew uncharacteristically quiet and nervous. "Is everything all right?" Violet asked, concerned. Aiden took a deep breath. "Violet, these past months with you have been the happiest of my life. You've shown me what true love really means." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Violet's heart began to race. Getting down on one knee, Aiden opened the box to reveal a stunning diamond ring. "Violet, my darling, will you marry me?" Joy exploded in Violet's chest. "Yes!" she cried. "1,000 times yes!" Aiden slipped the ring onto her finger with shaking hands before pulling her into a passionate kiss. As cherry blossoms floated down around them, Violet knew that her life was about to change in the most wonderful way. The next few months were a whirlwind of wedding planning. Violet and Aiden decided on an intimate autumn ceremony in the park where he had proposed. As the big day approached, Violet felt a mix of excitement and nerves. Part of her still couldn't believe this was really happening. The night before the wedding, as Violet was doing some last-minute preparations, there was a knock at her door. She opened it to find Aiden standing there with a bouquet of white lilies, the same flowers from the day they first met. "I couldn't wait until tomorrow to see you," he said with a sheepish grin. Violet pulled him inside and into her arms. As they held each other close, she felt utterly safe and loved. Any lingering doubts melted away. This was exactly where she was meant to be. The wedding day dawned clear and crisp, with vibrant autumn leaves creating a stunning backdrop. Violet's daughter helped her into her elegant lace gown, while her son waited to walk her down the aisle. When the music began and Violet rounded the corner to see Aiden waiting for her, tears of joy sprang to her eyes. He looked so handsome in his tuxedo, gazing at her with pure adoration. Their vows were heartfelt and moving. Violet promised to love Aiden unconditionally and to cherish every moment of their life together. Aiden vowed to always support her dreams and to make her laugh every day. As they sealed their union with a kiss, cheers erupted from their gathered loved ones. The reception was filled with laughter, dancing, and celebration. Violet and Aiden couldn't stop smiling as they twirled across the dance floor. When it came time to toss the bouquet, Violet's aim was perfect. The flowers landed right in the arms of Aiden's surprise sister. As the night wound down, Violet and Aiden slipped away from the party. Hand in hand, they strolled through the moonlit park where their journey had begun. "I can't believe we're really married," Violet said softly. Aiden squeezed her hand. "Believe it, Mrs. Campbell, you're stuck with me now." Violet laughed and leaned her head on his shoulder. "There's no one else I'd rather be stuck with." They stopped beneath the cherry tree where Aiden had proposed, now bare of blossoms but still holding so many precious memories. As a cool breeze rustled the leaves, Aiden pulled Violet close and kissed her deeply. "I love you," he murmured against her lips. "Today, tomorrow, and always." "I love you too," Violet replied, "more than I ever dreamed possible." As husband and wife, Violet and Aiden embarked on their new life together. They honeymooned in Paris, strolling hand in hand along the Seine and sharing croissants at sidewalk cafes. Violet was in awe of the city's beauty and romance, made even more magical by experiencing it with the love of her life. Upon returning home, they settled into married life with ease. Aiden moved into Violet's cozy house, filling it with warmth and laughter. They hosted dinner parties for friends, worked on home improvement projects together, and spent quiet evenings cuddling on the porch swing. Violet's flower shop continued to thrive, with Aiden pitching in whenever he could. He surprised her by converting the spare bedroom into a home office where she could work on designs and bookkeeping. Violet was touched by his thoughtfulness and support of her passion. As their first wedding anniversary approached, Aiden began acting secretive. Violet caught him whispering on the phone and quickly changing the subject when she entered the room. Her curiosity was piqued, but she trusted that whatever he was planning would be wonderful. On the morning of their anniversary, Aiden presented Violet with a blindfold and a mischievous grin. "I have a surprise for you," he said. "Do you trust me?" "Always," Violet replied, allowing him to cover her eyes. Aiden carefully led her outside and helped her into the car. As they drove, Violet tried to guess where they were going, but Aiden kept silent. Finally, the car came to a stop, and Aiden guided her out. "Okay," he said, "you can look now." Violet removed the blindfold and gasped. They were standing in front of a charming cottage, surrounded by lush gardens bursting with colorful blooms. A hand-painted sign hung above the door reading, "Violet's Blooms." "Aiden," she breathed, "what is this?" He wrapped his arms around her from behind. "This is your new flower shop and our new home. I know you've always dreamed of living in the countryside and having a bigger space for your business. So I found this place and spent the last few months fixing it up for you." Tears streamed down Violet's face as she took in the beautiful surprise. The cottage was perfect, quaint and cozy, with plenty of room for both living and working space. The sprawling gardens would provide endless inspiration and materials for her floral designs. "I can't believe you did all this," she said, turning to face him. "It's absolutely perfect. Thank you, my love." Aiden cupped her face in his hands. "You deserve the world, Violet. I just want to make all your dreams come true." As they sealed the moment with a kiss, Violet's heart overflowed with gratitude and love. She never could have imagined that at this stage in her life, she would find such profound happiness and fulfillment. Aiden had given her more than just his heart. He had given her a beautiful new beginning. Over the next few years, Violet and Aiden's love only grew stronger. The cottage became their sanctuary, filled with warmth and joy. Violet's business flourished in the new location, attracting customers from all over the region. Aiden's architecture firm allowed him to work remotely most days, giving them plenty of quality time together. They planted a vegetable garden, adopting 2 rescue dogs to keep them company as they worked outside. Weekends were spent exploring nearby towns, having picnics by the lake, and hosting backyard barbecues for friends and family. Violet cherished every moment, never taking their happiness for granted. As they approached their 5th wedding anniversary, Violet began to notice Aiden seemed distracted and anxious. When she gently asked if everything was all right, he assured her it was just stress from a big project at work. But Violet sensed there was more to it. One evening, as they sat on the porch swing watching the sunset, Aiden took Violet's hand with a serious expression. "Sweetheart, there's something I need to tell you," he began hesitantly. Violet's stomach clenched with worry. "What is it? You know you can tell me anything." Aiden took a deep breath. "I've been offered a huge opportunity at work. It's a chance to lead an international project, designing sustainable housing in developing countries. It's always been a dream of mine to use my skills to make a real difference in the world." "Oh, Aiden, that's wonderful!" Violet exclaimed. "I'm so proud of you. When do you leave?" Aiden's expression was pained. "That's the thing. It's a 2-year commitment based primarily in Africa. I'd have to be away for long stretches of time. I don't know if I can do that to you, to us." Violet's heart ached at the thought of being separated from Aiden for so long, but she could see how much this meant to him. She cupped his face in her hands, looking deep into his eyes. "My love, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. You have to take it. Well, make it work, I promise. Our love is strong enough to withstand any distance." Tears welled in Aiden's eyes. "Are you sure? I don't want to leave you." Violet kissed him softly. "I'm positive. This is your chance to fulfill your passion and make a real impact. I'll be right here waiting for you, cheering you on every step of the way." Aiden pulled her into a fierce embrace. "What did I ever do to deserve you?" he murmured. "I love you so much, Violet. Thank you for believing in me." As they held each other close, watching the last rays of sunlight fade, Violet knew that their love could weather any storm. The road ahead would be challenging, but she had absolute faith in the strength of their bond. The next few months were a whirlwind of preparations. Aiden worked tirelessly to get everything in order for his departure, while Violet focused on expanding her business to keep herself busy. They made the most of their remaining time together, taking weekend getaways and spending quiet evenings simply enjoying each other's company. Finally, the day of Aiden's departure arrived. Violet drove him to the airport, trying to keep her emotions in check. As they stood at the security checkpoint, reality hit hard. This was really happening. Aiden pulled Violet into his arms, holding her tightly. "I'm going to miss you so much," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "I'll miss you too," Violet replied, tears streaming down her face. "But I'm so incredibly proud of you. You're going to do amazing things." They shared one last lingering kiss before Aiden reluctantly let go. As he walked through security, he turned back to blow Violet a kiss. She caught it and held it to her heart, watching until he disappeared from view. The drive home was lonely, but Violet refused to let herself wallow. She threw herself into work, expanding her online presence and even starting a blog about flower arranging. She volunteered at the local animal shelter and took up painting to fill her evenings. Though she missed Aiden terribly, she was determined to make the most of this time. They spoke every day via video chat, sharing the details of their lives and reaffirming their love. Aiden's excitement about his work was contagious, and Violet loved hearing about the positive impact he was making. She sent him care packages filled with reminders of home, and he surprised her with beautiful local artwork and textiles. The months slowly passed, punctuated by Aiden's occasional visits home. Here is a continuation of the story, picking up where it left off. Those reunions were passionate and bittersweet. Violet cherished every moment with Aiden, but saying goodbye never got easier. She threw herself into her work during his absences, expanding her online business and even starting to teach floral design classes at the local community center. As the months passed, Violet found herself growing and changing in ways she never expected. The confidence she gained from her relationship with Aiden spilled over into other areas of her life. She made new friends, took up painting as a hobby, and even started training for a 5K run. Though she missed Aiden terribly, Violet was proud of the strong, independent woman she was becoming. Their nightly video chats became a cherished ritual, a chance to share their days and reaffirm their love across the miles. One evening, about a year into Aiden's assignment, Violet noticed he seemed distracted and anxious during their call. "Is everything all right, my love?" she asked, concerned. Aiden sighed heavily. "Violet, there's something I need to tell you. The project leaders want to extend my contract for another year. They say my work has been invaluable and they need me to stay on to see things through." Violet's heart sank. Another whole year apart? The thought was almost unbearable, but she could see the conflict in Aiden's eyes and knew how much this work meant to him. "What do you want to do?" she asked softly. I don't know," Aiden admitted. "The work we're doing here is so important. We're making a real difference in people's lives. But being away from you for so long, it's killing me, Violet. I miss you more than I can say." Violet took a deep breath, steeling herself for what she was about to say. "Aiden, my love, I think you should stay." "What?" Aiden looked shocked. "But Violet, listen to me," she continued. "This is the opportunity of a lifetime for you. The work you're doing is changing lives. I am so incredibly proud of you, and I don't want you to give that up. We can handle another year apart. Our love is strong enough." Tears welled in Aiden's eyes. "God, I love you so much. How did I get so lucky?" They talked long into the night, making plans and reaffirming their commitment to each other. It wouldn't be easy, but they were determined to make it work. The next year brought its own set of challenges. There were days when the loneliness felt overwhelming, when Violet longed for nothing more than Aiden's arms around her. But she drew strength from their love and from the woman she was becoming. Violet threw herself into her business, expanding her online presence, and even writing a book on floral design. She traveled to floral conventions, making new connections in the industry. Her classes at the community center grew so popular that she was asked to teach a course at the local university. Through it all, her nightly calls with Aiden remained her anchor. They shared their triumphs and frustrations, laughed together, and sometimes cried together. Their love deepened and matured, growing stronger despite the distance between them. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the day of Aiden's return arrived. Violet's heart raced as she waited at the airport, scanning the crowds for his familiar face. And then, suddenly, there he was. Time seemed to stand still as they ran towards each other. Aiden swept Violet into his arms, holding her tightly as if he never wanted to let go. "Welcome home, my love," Violet whispered, happy tears streaming down her face. "I'm never leaving you again," Aiden vowed, kissing her deeply. As they drove home, hand in hand, Violet marveled at how much they had both changed and grown over the past 2 years. Yet their love remained constant, a steady flame that had only grown stronger through the challenges they'd faced. That night, as they lay tangled in each other's arms, Violet knew with absolute certainty that this was where she belonged. With Aiden by her side, she felt ready to face whatever the future might hold. "I love you," she murmured, tracing his features with her fingertips. "Thank you for coming back to me." Aiden kissed her softly. "I'll always come back to you, Violet. You're my home." As they drifted off to sleep, Violet's heart was full. Their journey hadn't been easy, but it had led them here, stronger, wiser, and more in love than ever. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew they would face them together, and that was all that mattered.